I'm in streamer mode. Look out. Discord makes streamer mode seem so serious. It's like, Godspeed. Stay safe. I am officially tagging myself safe as a streamer. No need to worry about me, folks. I can handle being a streamer. It will not hurt me in any way. All right, well, people are coming in. I'm just going to do something really boring first, which is just I need to remove a couple of assets from an image. It's going to take me like 3 seconds, so I'm just going to do this real quick. Cut this stuff out for now. It's sort of interfering with some characters I have. Oops. No. Well, I guess this isn't going to be boring at all. It's going to be a non-stop thrill ride. Just going to remove a couple of assets from the scene. I want to have a version of this without these assets in it. Just need to get rid of the shadow on them, which is God knows where. No, I can find them. There we go. Just need to cut that out too. And then I've got what I need. There we go. Okay. Just needed to do a version like that. And it's already the right size, so just pop that into my low res folder, and then we'll get to the real stuff today. Daniel's Kitchen clear table. Boom. All right. I'm working on assets this morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the dev stream. So you're going to see a little bit of animation today. Just working on some stuff I would be working on anyway, so why don't you keep me company? So let's go back into Aseprite, and I'll explain just a little bit. So this is our new computer interface. If you're on the Kickstarter Discord streams, you've probably already seen this, but if this is new to you, then I'll just explain it a little bit. So in this game, you are using the computer the way you do in the first game, but it's not as much of a... It's kind of in a different context now. Like, the computer is not your whole world like it was when you were 15. So it's not a secret place anymore. It's not a place that exists like in Mara's imagination the way it did. And that means that it's interactable. So there's actually things you can do on the computer, like yourself in this game. The rooms, environments in Photoshop, and the sprites in Aseprite. Yes, so Soren is the background. Soren Hughes is the background artist on this game, and they do all of their assets, I think, in Photoshop. Yeah, they do them in Photoshop, and I do everything in Aseprite, pretty much. There's nothing I don't do in here except, very specific, like, effects, filters, and stuff. I almost exclusively work in this program. So most of what you'll see on the streams is going to be in here. All right, so today I want to do 2 animations. I'm going to rough them out as quickly as I can. So right now we've just got like the basic Mara at the computer. Got our background. I don't remember what these are. Let's find out. Oh, a sketch layer. Hey, cool. So yeah, that's what I started with. All right, so we'll keep that in play. And we'll just keep on doing roughs. So what we need right now is for Mara to actually sit down. So I'm going to use that as kind of a basis, but actually I'm going to bring that white layer back in and almost completely get rid of the real background, just so we can see just so we can see where everything is. And I'll make these a little darker too, because we're working in it right now. There we go. All right, so what I'm thinking is we start with a little hand. Like she's an 18-year-old, so she does everything in sort of a, your body is too big, like lumbering sort of way. Like when an 18-year-old comes down the stairs, that shit's loud, right? I'm not crazy. 18-year-olds come down the stairs loud. It's been a while since I lived with one, but that shit was loud. So I feel like all of Mara's movements, especially when she's alone in this game, are going to be just a bit more cumbersome than they used to be. She's just kind of in the way. And she's not as self-conscious about taking up space as she used to be. So I feel like she needs kind of a ballsy entrance where she's just like plunking down. Does not give a shit. Okay. Just make sure the sizing is matching up. Let's make just a little peek at, yeah, just a little peek at a face there. And then it'd be nice if the chair slid up a little bit. I think I'm going to do an effect where the chair slides up. Yes, it is an incredibly 2003 chair computer. You know, it used to be like the coolest shit, and now it's like, I think it's enjoying a renaissance right now. So I think it'd be funny if she really slides in fast. And I mean, you know, it doesn't need to be funny. I'm just trying to trying to make this a very efficient animation and, you know, sort of character appropriate. And she did kind of like, in the first game, she kind of jumped in and out of her bed. I think there's like, you know, some potential to just keep that going. That sort of like, little like, you know, she's a video game character and she's jumping to get from point A to point B. What did I do? Where did I draw that? I drew it in the wrong place. All right, so she kind of comes through. I'll fix the placement a little bit as I go. And then this is actually the end frame, so we're gonna make a new frame and just drop her back in over here, so I know what I'm finally working with. And I'm thinking this basic drawing, maybe, you know, just slightly different. Good morning, hello, welcome to the stream. This basic drawing will be the same, but I'll have her slide a little bit. So let's just put her a little bit back just to block that out, right? Yeah, I feel like it doesn't need to be much more than that. I think you know, she'll have to recover a little bit, and then come down kind of hard, and then I think we'll have everything we need. Man, onion skins after a while just kind of get in the way. All right, so by now her arm has slid down. Maybe her hand is down over here, and she's actually behind the chair at this point, like this. Okay, onion skins, just like in real life, they're the bane of my existence. You're trying to, either you're trying to cook something in the kitchen, or you're trying to make a video game, animate some frames, and those onion skins are just in your fucking way. So obviously her arms are not going to be there when she slides in. I think if I just keep the if I just keep everything else the same, but redo her arms, I think I can just keep the head the same art. It's not quite working actually, because she's already further in. So like, I don't know that the slide is gonna work. So I'm gonna lose it for now. Oops. I'm gonna lose it for now. Oh, what did I do? Good grief. Okay. That might work. It's just slight. It's just slight enough. Oh, this is actually... Oh, I see. I just made a mistake. Okay. Alright. We'll add in the slide later. Oh, hey, Heidi. My dog just came up to join me. She's very old these days, and she kind of just does her own thing. But I'm always like, where's Heidi? Because I'm worried about her. Just being an old dog. She fell down the stairs the other day, so I'm just really trying to keep track of her. But I want her to have her independence, too. Could I explain what the onion skins are? Yes, they are just, you can toggle them, and it's just a way of seeing what the previous frame looks like. You can make it like as many previous or next frames as you want. It's a way to do in-betweens. I use it when I'm animating in general, even when I'm doing keyframes, because I just want to make sure the scaling is like pretty close. So I use them a decent amount, like your classic animator would have just done a little of that on paper. And you can kind of see through animation paper too, especially if you're using a light box. So they didn't really need something like that. But yeah, these days, most of that done digitally is with onion skin. But yeah, it's annoying in its own way. Okay, so I think she comes in, bounces down, maybe even a little more bounce, actually. What is on this? Oh, I see. Can't keep my layers straight. Oh my goodness. I just worked out and I'm so sweaty. This is like how it must be. But there's just no time in the day to like work out and then get to a point where I'm not sweaty. Like, impossible. I must go to work sweaty. There's no getting around it. And then I'll do a little bounce on the hair probably when I clean it up. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Maybe the shoulder shrugs up a little bit. Yeah, these onion skins are just confusing me. Shoulder can stay about where it is, and the hand can stay about where it is, but the arm will go down. And then she recovers. All right. One frame for recovery, and then maybe like a very subtle frame of easing in, and I think we'll be okay. So here I'm actually going to in between. So I'm going to just take out the background. It's just in my way. That's all it is. Oh, I'm crabby this morning. I'm really not. I'm having a nice morning. Just sent my son off to this little pre-K program. He's doing so well so far. He's so sweet. He's got his friend there, so he's really happy. And he's only there 2 days a week, so I don't miss him that much. I get just enough time to get my work done, and then he comes home and we get to spend the whole day together, and I don't have to like be sweating work. I get to just like spend the whole day with him, so the whole evening. So it's nice. It's a nice little thing for just getting settled in. All right. I mean, how early is it over there? It is 10 a.m. Not that early. I've been up for hours. You know, I get up around 6:37. Okay, I think this looks pretty good. And then the only other thing I'm gonna do is just make it so that Mara's arms move in this one. I might even do another one just to, like, you know, ease it a little bit more, just massage it, so to speak. Really, you know, give the animation like a softer feel. But you know, basic principles. A lot of the real technique, a lot of the real, like, technical flourishes go out the window because I simply must finish this game in a reasonable amount of time. And also, I feel like people who play this game, I think that's all right. I think that's all right. If I give a little movement to the hair, that's going to be all we need. People who play this game are looking for story and character and a world to inhabit. And I generally feel like the animations just need to be good enough to support the thing that I'm building. I'm not going to pretend that, like, if I had infinite time, I would personally make the greatest animations for this thing. It's not, it's not the thing that I am looking to master personally. I can animate, and I do a good enough job on it. I mean, if I had infinite money, I would just pay somebody else to animate all this stuff for me. To be quite honest, I would focus on something else. I might do some of the keyframes, but then I would have other people animate just about everything. But in lieu of that, I do simple animations because that's what's going to get this thing done fast and cheap. Yeah, I really do like this software for pixel art animation. I should start. Aseprite should start paying me for this. It's lovely. It does, what Photoshop or Flash or whatever would do, but it is very specific to pixel art in the sense that it gives you everything you need and nothing else, and that's really what I am looking for. It's very lightweight. It costs $15. So I like to get a copy for my whole crew, and you know, makes the exchange of files really simple, and exporting out to the engine is easy as pie. You'll see me do that in a little bit. Oh, that's cool. You like it? I'm glad. I don't want anybody to think that Aseprite is going to magically, be the answer to all their prayers. I'm generally a very anti tools. I mean, I'm not anti tools. I'm anti, like, kind of the attitude that builds around tools. What tools are capable of doing versus what you personally are capable of doing. I don't like to build on that idea. I don't like to support that idea that you buy the tool and it's gonna get you motivated to make your thing. I really think if you're motivated, you will make something with any tool you have. And I'm not personally immune from the impulse that, like, oh man, I'm really in a rut. If I get new tools, this shit's gonna open right up. Like, I feel that way a lot, because I get in a rut and I wake up not feeling like working, and then I start to look for, like, a new productivity system or something like that, and I'm here to tell you that if you're in a rut, I mean, a new tool might make it fun for you. It might, for a little while. But if you're buying new software with the attitude that it's going to, kind of make the whole thing happen, you're gonna open that software and be very disappointed. All right, I need to actually have needs for these tools. And the software can't give you that. I mean, that seems obvious, but we all kind of fall into the trap of that, you know. I think most of us do. Um, as artists, we're distractible, and okay, I'm gonna get a little more loyal to the sizing here. I don't want her to look mushy when she settles in. And I'm not gonna do the hair just yet because I think I'm gonna save that for last so I can give it like a little bit of bounce. And I'm not gonna do the sleeve just yet either because I feel like that's gonna jump around too. Let's get this rough part out of the finished drawing. Yeah, a lot of people say my drawings on this program remind them of MS Paint. All right, so for now I'm just going to do her face. Try and keep these drawings consistent. I tend to feel like there's two versions of Mara that I draw. So she's got like a slightly ridgier nose sometimes, and I don't know what that is. I think the way I designed her at first kind of changed, but I still kind of go back to that old design. I don't know which one I like better. Okay. For this one, I'm just going to closely reference the original. Just really close, almost the same, just slightly lower down. Sometimes you just need that tiny little bit of movement to make it look alive, you know, to make the lines kind of look alive. And just the slightest amount will do the trick. Yep. There we go. So I'm just going to make her fingers a little less tense. Okay. All right, let's see. I like that. That's cute. Okay. All right. How's everyone's week going? Thursday already? This one flew by for me. Last week, first week of school, was way slower than this. I just started this pre-K program with my son. I guess it's the second year. We've been teaching him at home, which was something I was pretty sure I was going to do before the pandemic, and then during that, like last year, the school system in Philly was just like so fucked that I was like, I'm feeling pretty confident that I want to do this and that I can do this. So last year was like the trial run to see if we could do it, if me and my husband could do it, and I think it was pretty successful. We were a little overwhelmed with the work. having him at home doing school 5 days a week. It was a little much, and then we found this program where it's like a partnership program where, you know, they teach him for 2 days, and I get him for 3, and we kind of coordinate on you know, what he's working on. And oh my goodness, it is Rosh Hashanah. Oh wait, is Rosh Hashanah today? Oh man, this is what happens when you don't live near your mother. No, it's this weekend. Oh. Oh man. Okay. Oh well, my weekend is just coming together because I'm gonna have some friends over who I'm about to say goodbye to. They're moving, and I really want to make a special day of it. And they are not Jewish, so that'll be funny. Maybe I'll make them dinner for Rosh Hashanah. I mean, that'd be cute. We always, in general, we've over the years we've celebrated our personal holidays with them, so that'll be really cute. I did not realize. Oh man, my son's gonna be so happy when I tell him we're making food for Rosh Hashanah. He loves. I mean, who doesn't love Jewish food? But like, he loves it. He loves all the potatoes fried in oil and all the apples and all that. So he will be quite pleased. I'm quite pleased. Thank you for reminding me. Sheesh. I know my mother would have texted me like she would have texted me Happy New Year like on Saturday night or something, and I would have been like, no, I forgot. Oh well, this is great because I'm going downtown today, and I can just go to all the Jewish food places and get everything I need. Hooray! Thank you very much for the reminder. You know, it's hard when you're not affiliated with a temple, or you're not close to your family and you're like the only Jewish person you know. Sometimes you forget. Yeah, I figured you might be Jewish too, just from the way you put that. But you know, sometimes people are like, yeah, Rosh Hashanah, I got the day off, cool. And you don't need to be Jewish to enjoy the day off. I was just at SPX, and I'm still like laughing about this, and so it's just like uniquely funny to me, I think. But I was at SPX, and I went to the Ignatz Awards, and Warren Bernard, who I'm going to assume yes, was like, we were thinking of having SPX next week, but then we realized that was Rosh Hashanah, and the audience there just gave like this low volume, like, ooh. It was like this reverent sort of acknowledgement. I was like, okay. It really made me laugh. I just like laughed out loud when I'm just laughing thinking about it. Yeah, obviously I'm just laughing thinking about it. You spend enough time online and you're just like, I'm laughing right now. When clearly everyone can tell that you're fucking laughing. You know, I think her shoulder needs to be back. Yeah, I thought that would work, but I'm actually seeing a pathway now. It goes bup, 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 and then forward. So I think it just needs to be a little more. Let's bring everything up. I'm going to have to redraw that, but whatever. Yeah, she just needs to, because her shoulder is so far back there, and then when she lands, she plants it. So I think maybe I'll just have it over here instead. With that hand, let's see if this works. Now that's weird too, just because the pathway still goes up. So, okay. All right. Let's move the whole damn thing up. Let's see how it looks up here. And then it comes down. That's better, but it's still not good. All right. I'm going to just go back to the drawing board on this shoulder. This one doesn't look good anyway. All right. And here it just levels out. Okay, so we've got bup and bup. Let's just follow an arc here. And see where that gets us. It doesn't really look like she's bouncing, is the issue. I feel like there probably needs to be another right there. I'm just going to cheat this real quick and just bring her in like that and see. Yeah, I think that's what we need. Another layer of bounce. So obviously that's not going to be it. We'll get rid of that. But basically what I'll do is redraw this and then move it down a little bit, and that should do the trick. Will Mara be celebrating any Jewish traditions in Station to Station? Almost certainly, yes. I don't think I'm going to do Hanukkah again, because I already did it. But there will be like Mara's relationship to her religion and her culture changes as she gets older, and I'm certainly not going to miss a chance to show that again. So there will be some talk of Jewish customs at very least, if not like a holiday. But it'd be fun to do another holiday. I hope I have a chance to do that. I hope it works with the story that I'm telling. All right, so we'll make her hair bounce here. Hi, Ran. Good morning. I am having a cozy morning. That is absolutely how I would describe it so far. Just getting settled in for work. Normally around 10:30 I start to get hungry, but I think I'm just going to work until I get this finished. All right. That's looking okay. So now I just need to decide what's happening with Mara here. I think I actually might keep this bent. It might look a little awkward, but keep this bent a little longer because she just kind of slid off of the chair there. Try it like that. It's a little funny looking, but a lot of the time, if you're an animator, you have probably broken some bones on your characters. A lot of the time a broken bone is kind of what it takes to get the movement right. I don't know that everyone calls it a broken bone. Thinks of it so violently. I think it might also help to let her leg fly up a little bit. Just to... I don't know yet, honestly, so I'm going to leave the legs until the end. But I think there's something there with the arms, yeah. And then here we can just kind of do an in-between on, go away background. All right. Yeah. We can just kind of do an in-between on this one. So I'll have her hand starting to make its way. Just like that. You start liking the holidays after you move out. That is absolutely true. So Mara is not, she's not moved out, which is actually like, it's kind of it's you know, the title sort of implies that her life is very transitional right now, um, because she is living with her mother, but she's gone all day, every day, and she crashes in the city like all the time, which is you know, there'll be more information about that in this first little bit where you're like you're in this apartment in the city, but it is not your apartment. But has her mother had to sell the house on Perfect Heads? I guess you'll find out, won't you? Good question, eh? Okay. So I think, yeah, I want to just have Mara move down a little bit here. So I'm just going to redraw this one. I don't need this to go any lower. And then just have her hair come out a little more, just to complete that animation. I'm actually gonna in between the shoulder because I think that would continue its path. But which one of those lines is the shoulder? That one. Yeah, I'm just gonna in between that. But first, let's move Mara down just a little bit here. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's about the bounce that I want, I'd say. It's hard to tell which holidays are important when you have no connection to the religion. Yeah. You never know if the tone is celebratory or funereal, so it's best to default to a solemn response. No, you're absolutely right. No, I'm not like, look, I mean, the people at SPX, like, they're just no, a room full of very kind-hearted people who are trying to give the right amount of respect to a religion that is not theirs. My laughing is really just about that fact. Like, and that maybe, yes, maybe for Judaism in particular, everything seems funereal, you know? It's it all seems so serious if you're not part of it. And I mean, it kind of like a lot of the time it is like if you ever like go to like, you know, a Jewish rite of any sort and you're not Jewish, you're gonna hear somebody singing in Hebrew in like the saddest tone you've ever heard in your life. It's just gonna be like, it's going to sound like centuries of suffering in the tone of the song. It just sounds like I can't imagine coming to that for the first time. Like, I did it all the time when I was a kid. Like, my friends would like come to temple with me, and you know, they all saw me get bat mitzvahed at temple. I was just like, what is this miserable place? Everyone's crying in here. And you know, if you don't then know the richness of the Jewish culture, you know, if you're not intimately familiar with the, you know, specifically the American Jewish culture, which is like, you know, the sort of the one of the origin points of comedy in America, because there is a lot of sadness, and a lot of that sadness ends up coming out as comedy. Oh, let me get the cheeks too. And maybe it's hard to see how how that real misery does manifest as comedy. that it simply must. Like, there's no getting around it. At some point, you have to reclaim your humanity somehow, and one of the ways to do that, I mean, maybe the way to do it, is to make a joke out of it. So, there's a lot of dark humor associated with Judaism. There was a point back when, like, anyone gave a shit about SNL. Larry David came on, and he did like the intro, and he had this monologue where he's like talking about dating in a concentration camp. And he's just like, I'm trying to get a date, and he's got like all these funny little like ideas about how that would go. And people were so upset about this shit. And I mean, I'm not saying that the people who are upset about this weren't Jewish. I'm sure there were Jews who found it offensive, but to me, like, he's, in my point of view, is that he's finding the humanity in that situation, in a situation that is otherwise impossible to talk about, because it paralyzes you with the sadness and horror. So people don't talk about it. I mean, a lot of people who experienced it didn't talk about it. And the way he's talking about it is kind of one of the only ways you can talk about it, short of kind of just shutting everything down and saying this is like the worst thing that could ever happen. Is like, if I was there, I would be just as hopelessly pathetic as I would be in any other circumstance. And I think, that's what he was going for there, is like, this is not, we have to talk about this. We can't not talk about this. And we're talking about human beings here. We're not talking about people who have successfully been dehumanized to the point where they can't, think like, how am I going to get laid while I'm in here? Like, he just, I don't know. I found it, I thought there was a lot of humanity to what he was doing with it. Anyway, I think, that solemn reverence that people have for Judaism comes from a fear of stepping on toes and offending people, and rightfully so. It's the time period we live in, and this subject is sort of an evergreen in terms of how dicey it is to wade through. So I get it, but at the same time, I absolutely will defend what he did, because the whole basis for his comedy is the misery and powerlessness that he feels as a Jewish man. Love Larry. Oh, let me give this hair a little movement too. I think that looks okay. The hair whips kind of violently. I feel like that's not quite working, so I'm gonna pull that back a little bit. Let's see. I've missed quite a bit here. A Yom Kippur moment for a redemption arc. That's really funny. I love the idea of Mara trying to fast on Yom Kippur. Like Mara, who's at college, just eating disgusting food, addicted to sugar, depressed. Like, it would be so funny. It'd be so funny for her to like try very unsuccessfully to fast. Mara tries her hand at stand-up. That's really funny. You wonder if Mara's relationship with Hitler has changed. All right, we're not getting off of this topic just yet. Well, sure, right? Our relationship with Hitler changed, much like our relationship with Jesus Christ, changes throughout our lives, and it's no different for our girl. Oh man, oh man. All right, so we'll just I'm just gonna redo these. But I could start coloring, but you know, as soon as I start coloring, all this is gonna get harder to fix. So. Alright, I feel like that hair doesn't move too crazily. Maybe that little point here, I'll fix that. Oops. Yeah, just a little too much. I mean, you know, she's just jumping into a chair. It's not that crazy. Alright. So, yeah, I'll just have it come forward. Not crazy, just a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's her fear of Hitler was like it was like a combination of, like, you know, I guess what you would call intergenerational trauma. I'm like pretty skeptical of like such terms. I feel like they get used in kind of a weird way, but you know, this traumatic idea that she was raised with, and that kind of you know, affected her through the adults in her family, but also an obsessive compulsion, and that's going to be definitely something that she's still dealing with as a young adult. So I think it's almost guaranteed that that's going to come up. You know, it's when people ask me about that stuff, like, I do have the whole story planned out, but I haven't written it yet. And when I write things, a lot of that stuff comes up naturally, you know? All right, I think what I'm going to do before I start coloring this is I have a chair, and I'm just going to pop it in for some of this, because sometimes she is in front of the chair and sometimes she's behind the chair. And like for the first few frames of this, she's both in front of and behind the chair. So I'm not going to be able to generate that in the engine. Let's see what else has gone on in the chat. Hello, Dan Kobe. Good morning. The music is for this game is sounding so dope so far. I've been playing it in my living room because I've got like my best speakers there. So like my family has been enjoying it too. It's great. I'm very excited about the soundtrack in this one. Okay, so I'm gonna pop in the chair. In Israel, all these horrors are shoved down your throat since first grade, and you have to develop some sort of defense mechanism. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can only imagine if it's, you know, we talk about it a lot in the States. I can only imagine that, you know, since World War II, that has been like the number one story. It is like the story of Israel, you know, at least in contemporary history. So I can only imagine. Mara tries to fast, but thinks sodas are still allowed. I do remember when I was like in New York City in college, I found out about Sabbath elevators, and I thought that was like the craziest shit I'd ever heard of, because it's like you know, in some parts of New York, you simply cannot live without an elevator. Okay, So I'm going to keep this chair here, right? And now she starts to be behind it. So I'll just have another chair that's a reference layer that I'm not going to keep in. But so there are elevators that just automatically stop on every floor. And that way, if you are observing the Sabbath and you're not allowed to use electricity or work, like operating a machine is considered work, and you just get on the elevator and the elevator does the work for you. I mean, there's all kinds of workarounds. I've heard that there are people who like hire somebody to do work for them, which seems really suspicious to me. But you can always pay your way out of obligations. I'm sure. No, I'm not trying to judge. I'm sure there are people who absolutely need accommodations like that. But anyway, I think when Mara gets to the city, there will be quite a few Jewish people, and she will be very intrigued by the world she finds herself in. Okay, so I'm gonna refer to all the layers so that I can get these colored. Fasted till 2 p.m. That's almost the whole day. Yeah, I mean, right. It's really fun to be in Mara's head because you get to hear all the justifications that she makes to herself for everything, and she is like, adults make these justifications, but she is still like, for all intents and purposes, a kid, and she's gotten really good at making those justifications. Really, really savvy. And perhaps she will even see the consequences of those justifications, because she's going to be in a lot of situations where she reports to no one but herself. And when she is in trouble, she has no one to save her. That is a very college age revelation. At least it was for me. I think I'm going to skip the legs probably. I mean, we'll see how it looks when I get everything colored in. A lot of the time the color will reveal deficiencies. Consequential based trauma. Yeah. You love it. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of the things I write for Mara is like stuff that I did not love, and I'm trying, like, now it's quite easy for me to find the humor in it because it already happened, and I can say what that was in a way that I was not able to say at the time. At the time, I was just so upset. And it's kind of funny in hindsight because life gets harder all the time, and you look back at the things that were hard for you once upon a time, and I mean, that's what Perfect Tides is kind of an exercise in for me, is like, you think that was hard, honey, but I know it was hard for you. I'm sorry. Like it's like a back and forth between those two feelings, that like, that wasn't that hard, but also, man, that was hard. How'd you do that? How'd you get through that one? And people have used the word forgiveness for that, and I think that kind of sums it up, is like, I'm laughing at myself and also forgiving myself for being the way that I was, because I can recognize that I was going through a lot, even though now it doesn't even seem that way anymore. Now it doesn't seem like a big deal. But you know, this always comes back to giving birth. After you give birth, it doesn't seem like a big deal anymore. But at the time, it was a big deal, and it would still be a big deal. If I ever had a second child, I would be suffering in absolutely novel, unique ways once again. And people have called that amnesia. You know, that you give birth and you forget how hard it was. Oh, I just realized that Mara has eyebrows. I might have to fill those in. Yeah. And I'll have to get the color for her pants here. Let's see. Here's Mara holding breakfast. Just sample from that. Belt color. Pretty much black. Yeah, this is where color really brings into harsh relief what is missing. Oops. Maybe I should have her legs pop up just a little bit. Let's see how it looks, because they disappear, you know. And then her arms kind of, it looks so weird. Nah. But to have her pants just appear like that is also really strange. So perhaps they should begin in this image right here. Right? She's going pants first into this chair. Let's give that a shot. Oops. It's still very abrupt, you know? Maybe I can do a little line here and a little bit there, where you just get a little, you get to say goodbye, right? And maybe even here we get just like the tiniest little bit of her legs coming through. I think that might clear it up. Yeah, that's okay. All right, are we ready to put the shit in? Let's plug it into the engine. Okay, let's see. Which season is Station to Station starting in? We're going to be back in spring, just like the first game. People, have I gotten any feedback on people relating to other characters that surprised or intrigued you? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of older brothers. See, like, I just talked to my older brother for the first time about Perfect Tides a few weeks ago. We all went on vacation together, and we were all out having a drink, and oh, what happened here? You go away. Make sure everything looks good before I... Okay, this looks fine. All right, so I'm gonna save this. Oh, right, I didn't want that chair, but I guess it doesn't matter. The chair can stay. All right, we'll keep it in. All right. And he was like, that brother's an asshole. And he hasn't played the whole game yet. He, He, you know, he's just giving me a hard time. He's like, that brother's an asshole. And I was like, yeah, if it means anything to you, a lot of people feel very sympathetic of that character. Um, despite how he treats our hero, he's going through it himself, and they get it because they remember. So that one, I wouldn't say that surprised me. I wasn't trying to make Timothy like an outright villain. All right, I'm gonna make a new folder for this. Jump into desk. But that one I got a bit of, and also same thing with Jason, really. And I expected people to be very like, anytime I've been making characters for a while, in stories where they are wronged by another person, so I'm pretty used to people hating the character who has wronged their special girl or special boy. um, and defending them, basically, like going to bat for the character who has been wronged. But I also try to make I also try not to draw a line of like, this character was wronged, therefore the character who wronged them is bad. I really try not to do that, and Mara certainly fucks up and ruins some people's day throughout the course of the game, and she's going to continue to do that. All right, I'm going to change the share to the engine. Here we are. And a lot of people, I didn't expect this one as much. A lot of people found that, like, admitted that they felt like Jason. That they just, that it hurt. Like, some people just outright said they hated Jason, which I expected. But a lot of people were like, I hate Jason because I was this little fucker when I was 18, and like, I think because Jason is older than Mara, he kind of gets uh, labeled as an adult, or like somebody who has more responsibility than Mara, and perhaps he is more responsible for how he treats Mara than she is of him, a little, but like, because like 2 years can make a pretty big difference when you're a kid, but he's still 18. Like, I haven't been 18 in a really long time. And now this game is about an 18-year-old. So we will see that clearly she is not grown up yet. So a lot of people were like, fuck, man, that was me. I was Jason. Yep, yep, yep. It became very clear to them when they played it. Frame 4, 5, 6, or 7, Mara's upper left arm needs color. Oh, okay. I'll take a look back at it. Jason Starkey is the prototypical rebel kid who really has very little agency and is scrambling around trying to figure out who he is and what life is about. Yeah, I mean, an 18-year-old doesn't have a ton of agency, but they'll use all of it, right? They're able to drive. Oh, maybe I already fixed the thing that you're pointing out. I think maybe I did. I just realized you only just see her right hand there, but I think that's okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. You're able to drive. Perhaps you're sexually active, and that alone is a lot. You can style yourself any way you like. Your parents are, if you're that independent that you're leaving the house by yourself, you're working, you're making your own money, you can style yourself however you like. You can get piercings and tattoos, and you can. Uh, you are considered an adult in the eyes of the law, so it definitely opens life up a little bit for you to be 18. But you're still pretty tethered to the people that you depend on. You're not fully separated from them. And if you insist on being so, or you're forced to be so in some way, you're really going to struggle at that age. So, Jason, I don't want to explain what Jason is, but he there are clearly a lot of things that he can't control in his life, but he seems like somebody who's very in control. Okay. Oh, you know what? I might already have a view for this. Desk, yes, I do. Sorry, view 32. Bye-bye. Okay. So I've explained this before. Let me go through it again. So when you have new assets in your game, you import them into this like sprite menu here, which just like holds all the files in your game. So I've got my UI assets in here, like the telephone, where you you know, I've got overlays. I've got like the computer screen menu, which I'll show you guys when I power on the game. And right now I'm just importing those assets, and I need to assign them to a view. And then once I do that, I can use that view with any character or object. Like I can use it anywhere in the game. So it's very convenient because I can assign that view in different places. And then if I need to change something about the view, I can just change it one time. I don't have to change it everywhere it gets used. So Mara Desk Library, right now I've just got the one view where she's sitting there. I'm gonna need a view for I'm gonna need a loop for when she's typing and one for when she's getting in. So let's do the one where she's getting in. That's gonna be loop 1, and I'm just gonna do it from the sprite menu here. Assign to view, and that is loop 23 or view 23 loop 1. And then you'll see that it's right in here, and I can even like preview it through the program. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is have Mara's starting room be the computer so we can get right to it. So here's how it looks right now. Let me see if this will show up. No, I have to capture the screen. All right, so here we go into the danger zone. I'm capturing my screen instead of the program. Okay, so when I play the game, right now Mara just pops into the seat. And this is the computer, by the way. Right now I have it set up so that there's 4 functions you can do. You can chat, which right now there's nobody to chat with. You can use the word processor to work on your writing. You can check your email, which right now Mara has 1 email. And you can either browse the internet, which will give you like a different thing to look at every day or so. Or you can search for terms, which is basically how you ask questions to the computer. Anyway, let's get that animation in, right? So we'll go into the room where this happens, computer library, and into the room script. We've got room load, and Mara is not visible yet. So after a wait time of 20 beats, let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. Okay. After a wait time of 20 game cycles, which is like, it's like a little less than a second, I think, Mara comes into view. So right now she just pops into view. So I'm going to make it, oh, I see. So right now Mara is being animated at loop 0. We'll just take that right out. And right here after 20, we're going to go, see you go, animate, and she's already been assigned to the view up here when the room loads. So we just need to choose the loop. So she'll go loop 1. I'll try a 5 delay. We'll see how it looks. That's just the speed at which you animate. It's only going to play once. This is going to be a blocking motion, which means nothing else in the game runs while this is going. It needs to get to the end before the next action can happen. And it's going to play forwards. This can be very useful when you, you basically just need a character to backtrack off of the animation. Okay. And then once she sits down and powers on the computer, which is like the background frame changing here, I'm just going to set the animation to animate loop 0. And that'll be a non-blocking. All right, let's see if it works. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, obviously, that's too slow, right? So let's try a delay of 3 instead. See what we get. I like that. I'm happy with that. Cool. Let's watch that again. What do we think, guys? Oh, the chair disappears. Whoopsie. All right. Well, for now, let me just get rid of this animation because this doesn't have the chair in it, and then it'll just play to the end, and then we'll get the chair. Ta-da! All right. So the next thing will be for me to animate Mara typing, but I'm not going to do that this morning. I just wanted to get this one animation done. And I'm pretty hungry now, so I think I'm just going to have lunch. If you guys wanted to ask any questions before I stop the stream, I'll hang out for a couple more minutes. As you grow older, you realize people who wronged you were indeed in the wrong, but like you somehow let them, like you put up with such behaviors, so they're not the only ones to blame. Yeah, it's true, and you know some people would call that victim blaming, but I believe it's important to have those conversations with yourself, um, to understand what you put up with, because ultimately, yes, you were innocent of something because you just didn't know how to put up with that kind of thing, or you know you put up with it in the way that you had been taught to put up with it, or had not been taught to put up with it. I mean, everyone is taught in a way. You deal with conflict in your own family, and then you deal with conflict outside of your family. And if you have been taught to deal with conflict in a way that does not actually mitigate harm to yourself, or to other people, then that's what you're going to do because that's all you know. And it's very hard to be rejected uh, when you don't have a lot of experience dating, particularly if, I mean, whether you grew up in a loving family or not. The rejection is going to hurt so much because either you are feeling a mirror image of the rejection that you've already felt, or you are not used to rejection. You're not used to not being loved back. So uh, it's incredibly hard to know how to deal with those things until you deal with them. Like you just have to. So in a way, you are innocent, but then it behooves you to look at those times and understand why you didn't deal with them in the way that would have been best for you and for other people. Um, the speed looks enthusiastic. Oh, yes. I mean, always, right? Mara's always excited to get on the computer. Um, is there a time skip? Yes. So this is set in 2003. So last time we left Mara, it was winter of 2000, and she was 16. And hi, Kitty Games. Unfortunately, I'm almost done. I'm just like hanging out to chat for a little while, but let me play what I did again, just so you can see. Yeah, sorry. Boom. Just a little animation of Mara getting into her seat. So, yeah, it's 2003. Mara is 18. And during the course of the game, she will turn 19. Thank you. Glad you like it. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be able to do stuff like this live. It's really fun. I get it done just as fast as I would on my own, maybe even faster because I'm not like taking breaks or anything. And it's nice to just have some company while I'm doing that. Any other things you guys want me to talk about before I call it a morning? I'm drinking decaf because this is like my 3rd cup for the day, so I'm trying not to do that anymore. But it still makes my head buzz. Hard to figure it out. I think it's maybe like a psychosomatic reaction after a while. I love this mug. I got it in Maine. The Big Maine Breakfast. Right? Is that what it says? Great Maine Breakfast. Just like, I just love this exact mug. I love a thick white diner mug with the little waist in the middle. What borough captures Mars vibe the most? What borough of New York? Well, she's going to be in Manhattan for most of this game, or the version of the fictional version of Manhattan, where we never call it New York City. Um, am I on Instagram? Yes, I don't really use it. I have an Instagram for myself, which is Granulac. I never post, and I have an Instagram for Perfect Tides, which is perfect_tides, and I hopefully will be posting there. It's not easy to manage my own social media, I gotta say. For future reference, will these streams contain spoilers? Need to know if you should avoid them. I'm gonna try really hard not to show you guys any cutscenes. If there are exchanges between the characters, it'll just sort of be like playable content. But I'm really gonna try not to show any non-playable content where a lot of those like big story moments happen. If I do, I will say out loud in advance that that's what's gonna happen. I appreciate that. I know that that's a danger, right? But generally, I'm just going to be working on animations. The spoilers you'll be getting will mostly be visual. Can you or Mara reply to the mail she receives? I haven't done any yet where you do that, but I've only done one email so far. So I think the emails are going to be different. Yeah. And Mara is going to have a lot of writing assignments. There's 16 days in this game, so by that metric, I believe Mara is going to write 16 things, and one of those will at least one of those is probably going to be email composition. Writing a difficult email. As a kid at the time, so I find it interesting seeing it through the lens of teen angst. Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, I'm very glad that people see the truth in this beyond my experience, because what would be the point of just conveying my experience if it was nobody else's? Was Perfect Tides based on a specific island? Yes, it is meant to be Fire Island. There's actually been a couple of people have told me that they've gone to Fire Island because of the game and checked it out. I spoke to someone recently who asked me like for recommendations on landmarks and stuff, which I have none. I just recommend enjoying it. Just walking around and experiencing it. Will we see or hear from Lillian station to station? Yes, she will be in this game. I will not disclose her role, but there will be a few recurring characters, not the entire cast, but there will be some characters who carry on to this game. You did street view it. There are no streets really. It's just little boardwalks and stuff. But yeah, I guess with a global map view, you could get an idea. Advice on writing characters that you can't personally relate to. Well, I mean, I write characters as facets of myself, but they also end up being people in my life a lot of the time. I don't tend to write from somebody who doesn't exist, or like who only exists in my mind. Usually there is some real basis. I would say like if the characters are sympathetic, it's because I'm finding ways to be sympathetic to either facets of myself or of people I know who are not me. So, I think it all comes from real people. Um, I really don't like to make up. Well, sometimes it's just a person I don't even know that well who I've garnered some characteristic from them. But I don't like archetypal characters. I try to avoid that if I can help it. I think it's really best to work from what you know. Do I identify as more of a millennial or Gen X? I'm an old millennial, but I like a lot of Gen X shit. So I'm somewhere in between. And my husband is a bit older than me, but he feels the same way, that he's kind of on the cusp of something. I would say that I'm absolutely a millennial, but for him, like just a few years later, he feels a little more like it's a blurred line. Um, it really just depends where you were at in your life at the time. And, all this generational divide stuff is like, perhaps it's useful when calculating demographics and polling and stuff like that. But as a basis for your own identity. I find it's pretty limited. Will the video on demand be on YouTube? Yeah, I'll put this one on. On YouTube? Yeah, I guess so. Why not? Let's do it. Yeah. I'll publish it to YouTube later today, and I'll get the VOD for this up like right now after I turn off the video, so you'll be able to. If you came in late, you can watch the rest of it. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. I'm so hungry. I wanna eat right now. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next stream. Bye.